children who remain separated from their parents. And for a lot of people, it does come down to faith, and it comes down to their beliefs and how they feel about families. What is missing from this conversation?
I would hope that whether you're a person of faith or not, that just our sense of right and wrong would make us have more compassion toward children. Certainly when you look...
See, right there, Bishop Jace, you just messed me up right there. Talking about some right and some wrong. You have yet to discuss a lot of the issues that are plaguing and that are directly affecting the church as a whole. And so then when you do decide to get on CNN, you want to talk about the immigration policies and the ideas of right and wrong? Are you kidding me? This is the church leader that we have? And then you're doing it on CNN, the most liberal station, and watch this woman play him using emotionalism in order to push the leftist agenda. And he plays right into it like a darn, like some kind of look kitty cat that's about to go to the slaughter. Watch this.
At it through the lens of faith, and particularly through the lens of Christianity. Jesus' mother and father sought asylum in Egypt when Herod had made a death decree on them. Had Egypt handled that the way they did, the whole narrative and story would have turned out differently. I think that some religious leaders are quiet on it because those who are Trump supporters feel like to disagree with him is to somehow be disloyal to him.
Now, why weren't you saying the same thing when the information came out about the fact that this was going on on Obama's watch as well? Huh? So why is it now you're up there come talking about some 2,000 kids and now you want to come make an emotional plea on CNN or give your faith-based opinion? And you talking about Trump supporters are being quiet on it. Some faith leaders are being quiet on it because they don't want to disagree with the president they may have voted for, and this is what you do? So now you want to get on here? Okay, no, wait. Let's roll this back. Where were you during the issue of the cake baker and the Supreme Court, and who was being sued by those two homosexuals? Where were you then? That was a huge case that directly affects your religious beliefs. Where were you then? Why haven't we heard you on the rulings out there in California about banning, not necessarily banning Bibles, but banning those people who use resources using monetary gain to help those who may use reparative therapy to deal with same-sex attractions? Where were you on that conversation? Man, get out of here with all that foolishness. Watch this.
It's dangerous to have any leader of any stripe with whom we cannot be honest and transparent and say that we don't agree about particular things. We're losing our voice and our opinion.
You lost your voice a long time ago when you started making worldly movies and you wouldn't deal with the real issues of life. You dealt with some issues, but some of the biggest issues that are plaguing the church, abortion and this rampant homosexuality in the church, you have yet to make a movie using all the millions and millions of dollars that you have made over the years, and you're quiet about the two biggest issues that we need to be standing up and preaching from the rooftops on. You have been quiet. That's a coward. And I like you, TD Jakes. I have wanted to like you over the past few years, but you have become such a what do you call it? A psychotherapist. That's what you've become. You've left preaching behind. And anytime you get on TV and you have your shows, it's all of this pop psychology and all this stuff and feel good stuff. And sometimes I feel like you leave the truth of the gospel behind. And the two biggest issues that are out in our faces right now, you ain't got nothing else to say. And I wonder why that is. I'm not trying to say nothing, but I wonder why that is. Man, again, get out of here with all that.
For the sake of camaraderie with our team or our political worldview, and I think that's not what democracy is really meant to be in our country.
Are we losing our morality?
A CNN person talks about, are we losing our morality? CNN pushes every liberal agenda you can ever think of. And she's asking the question, are we losing our morality? You have got to be kidding me. This is the last channel to be asking about morality. And sitting there with that somber face, that somber look on her face, like she's actually caring about what he's saying. No, she's playing you to the left, brother, and you don't even see it. You can't see it because you see an opportunity to get on TV and voice your opinion about something you truly don't understand.
I think we are. I think that we're almost becoming more interested in winning than we are being right. And the notion that the ends justifies the means by any means necessary can bring us to the atrocities that we have seen in the past. As an African American, when I look at and I listen to people say that we have never done this before in this country, that's really not true. We have done this before. We've done this in slavery. We've ripped children out of the arms of their mothers, leaving families traumatized for financial gain or some economic excuse. We have done it before, and that's why we have no excuse to do it again.
Okay, so now you're comparing slavery, and now you're bringing this up here, right here. What's happening with the border control and the Trump border policy? Okay, first of all, it's not Trump's border policy. This was already in place. All he's doing is enforcing the law. So you're not talking about the other side. So you need to go on Fox News and let them brief you on the truth behind all of this that's going on. But yet you're on CNN, the ones who give you fake news throughout the day. Throughout the day. You want to get on here? Man, you crack me up. I'm not going to say anything mean about you. I'm not going to say anything mean about you. Between you and John Gray, y'all are cracking me up. I don't get it. No, I do get it. I do understand. These are the days. These are those days. And David Wilkerson talked about this. David Wilkerson. If anyone doesn't know David Wilkerson, go look up David Wilkerson on YouTube, and you will see a true man of God preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. Really bringing home the truth of the gospel and not getting caught up in this world system and being pulled to the television to give you your soft-sided opinions from a leftist point of view. And being played and punked by a lady on television from CNN of all channels. All right, let me go let y'all finish listening to this.
We see the atrocities that came out of bad decisions and bad choices and heartlessness for financial gain before. We cannot afford to go back down this road.
She's shaking her head.
Create generations of people who were already traumatized before they got here and then further abused by a system that we failed to correct.
And we've also seen criticism more recently of immigration policies of the past. Some of them, as recent as surrounding the Second World War. When we look at all of that, there is the question, too, for many people but I want to secure the borders. We know that immigration is a complicated issue. How do you have the conversation about, yes, we can have secure borders. Yes, we can talk about comprehensive immigration policy, and we can also be compassionate.
There she go playing you right there.
I think it is possible to do one without compromising the other. I certainly don't leave my door open at night at my house. I think that we need to control our borders. I think that we need
she
to
said that as if to say...
with...
She said that as if to say that Trump is not being compassionate. Not even bringing up the idea that all this was going on before he was even in office. This being going on, and then how some of these people are trying to come across the border, sending their children ahead of them, and just sending their kids, and the kids get caught, or if they come in illegally, and how they have to separate them and placing them in prison. So she's not talking about it from that perspective. They're not. Oh gosh, they're not even telling the truth in the way that this story is being told.
They're seeking asylum or whatever means that they may try to immigrate to our country. They certainly need to be vetted. Certainly in the complexities that we have with the atrocities of terrorism going on in the country today, we do need to be careful and diligent.
That's the first decent thing you just said.
Be careful and diligent without being abusive and robbing people of human dignity, especially when you start to think about children and children being abducted and abused.
Again, you just been played to the left, by the left, and using this whole issue of immigration and leaning it towards on an emotional slant, and you just fell for it. You just fell for it. I'm telling you, if y'all are going to these big church houses like this, I'm praying for y'all, because you don't understand who you're sitting up under. And there was a time when this man was bringing some stuff, and I'll admit I was the first one to be on his side, and I'm not going to deny the fact that when I used to watch him, and when he came to Atlanta, when I even flew out to Louisiana to see him at one of his conferences, and I'm telling you, at that time, it did something in my spirit. But at this point, as I see the way that things have went between with him, Joel Osteen, a lot of these big time preachers, they've turned into psychologists, and they've turned into, the type of preachers that'll give you a good hit just to keep you going for the week, and keep you on the high, on the dopamine. That's all. Instead of giving you some unadulterated truth to change your life and change the nation. But God already said these things are going to happen. Wolves in sheep's clothing. I'm not saying that that's him. I'm not saying that that's. But all I'm saying is that, you know what? I don't care how many invitations you give me to sit at your table. I couldn't do it. Just like when they when the basketball player or the football players wouldn't go see Donald Trump because they just can't agree with him. I'm telling you, that's how I feel about you, man. That's how I feel about you. Love you, do love you. But I can't sit. No, this brother right here can't sit with that. But you know what? Maybe I would, because then I could light into him. Then I can say what I want to say to his face respectfully, because I do respect you as an elder. So don't get me wrong there. Here we go. Keep going.
We have to give the most earnest heed to protecting all of our children. Let me go a step further. I think that one of the things that would really help if we would move to prevention, where we started dealing with these countries and the atrocities that are causing people to need to run. They're not coming over here hiding out in the backs of cars and walking for miles in deserts because they want to go to Miami Beach. They're coming here because they are distraught and traumatized by governments and regimes and poverties and abuses of which we have not really sufficiently dealt with to correct those issues that would cause them to be more comfortable in the countries from which they left.
And for those who want to seek asylum, who are fleeing those situations that you talk about, we know that
You
the
see what
president
she
wants to
just
see
said?
significant changes
She want to bring up
to
that
immigration
asylum
as a
issue.
whole, including for those seeking asylum. What are
They
your
have to
thoughts
keep
on
using
that?
that word.
Well, I think that we need to put our heads
Some aren't seeking asylum. They just trying to run across the border so they can get some of this free financial support from the American government by the American people. That's what they're doing. Come on, cut that out. What's her name? What is her name? I don't see her name. I can't think of her name right now. But yeah, won't you cut that out? Christian leaders divided on Trump border policy. No, you have one bishop on TV who, as a Christian leader, and I use that word loosely, who is leaning left because he wants to stay in good graces with the majority of his congregants.
together. As long as we are polarized politically and each party is trying to one up the other one, we don't get the best from each party. And I think that we are best when we come together to have a holistic view of it, and then for Congress and the president to work together in a cohesive manner. As an outsider, it just feels like nobody's listening to the people anymore. It seems like they're so consumed with the fighting and
The people voted. They voted Donald Trump in because they got tired of the left ideology pushing homosexuality, abortion, and just and free and help these huge crazy health care, Obamacare, and all of this free immigration for everybody. Just everybody just coming across the border. That's what happened. The people voted because they were tired of all of this being shoved down their face by the left. And they said, no, enough with that. And I usually don't get into all this stuff. I really don't. My wife will tell you, she's a poli-sci major. I usually don't get into it. But I'll address it usually from a Christian perspective. And the thing that I see here is that you see a left-leaning black pastor who has a majority black congregation. All he's doing is playing into a left-leaning, extreme left-wing news channel. Fake news, fake news channel, and falling right into it. Oh my gosh, this stuff is wild. You can't even make it up. It's unfolding right before our eyes.
Bickering and one-upmanship amongst themselves, that the voice of the people of America are being snuffed out. And I think that's why we're seeing such frustration in the streets of America, because the outrage is derived from the fact that a system that was supposed to be by the people, for the people, has anything but the people.
It can often feel that way for a lot of folks. There's a poll from the most recent polling from PRI from April.
Watch this.
In terms of the favorability of President Trump among white evangelical Protestants, 75% have a favorable view. As you just said earlier, it's your sense that people are sort of loath to contradict the president. Do you think what we are all seeing, though, now, and this collective outrage at these pictures of children and the unknown whereabouts of them, even today,
There she go, using that emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation. You have got to watch you have got to get your information from other news sources other than CNN, because then you will get a fair and balanced, but what you'll come to understand will be more fair and balanced instead of emotionally driven and leaning towards, oh, this man he's horrible, he's being mean, and he's just being cruel to these children and families and women and separating kids. No, you will get the truth behind what's really going on.
could that change at all the way perhaps some of those folks would respond to that poll today?
So she's basically saying that, okay, a lot of white evangelicals, they still approve of Donald Trump, but now after all of this going on, with their Christianity and their faith being heavily rested on one of the big ideas is family, then how could they possibly give a high approval rating for a president who doesn't show that same regard for family? So that's basically what she's saying. Now watch this.
I think the way people respond to a poll versus the way they talk around their dinner tables are often quite different. I have not given up hope that a sense of right and compassion and the narrative that Jesus said, suffer the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, will not permeate through the religious fibers of the American soul and cause us to have a greater consciousness. What I am concerned about is our silence in the process on the public forum creates a narrative that suggests that we condone behavior that history teaches us.
I know you're not talking about silence, brother. I know you're not talking about silence. I have yet to hear you come out about the Christian baker, about the woman who her and her husband, I believe, who had the bed and breakfast. I have yet to hear you talk about the transgender issue in the bathrooms. I have yet. Now, if there are videos where you are talking about it, I would love to see them. But I have yet to see you get in the public square and get on CNN and refute CNN's opinions regarding these issues from a Christian perspective. So don't you talk about being quiet and not saying anything, because you don't say nothing. You don't say anything about any of the issues that are directly affecting Christian liberties. See, this per se does not directly affect Christian liberties. But the two issues I just talked about, abortion, because when Hobby Lobby was going through that whole abortion mandate, they're having to supply, having that health care, paying for that abortion. I mean, come on, where were you on that big incident and that big issue? And then the right to citizens who run a business not to participate in homosexual weddings because it will violate their conscience. I haven't heard you say anything about that. So don't talk about the people being quiet. His people, the evangelicals being quiet on issues. I have yet to hear I ain't gonna say it. Your behind saying anything on any of these issues that really affect the church directly.
Leads to the demise of a civilization. Civilization is dependent upon how we treat our children and our women and our families. And so I don't think that we can afford to remain silent. And I would encourage my evangelical brothers and sisters, particularly white evangelicals, not to acquiesce to the notion that if you disagree about something, that you are somehow disloyal to the president. If you voted for him and you selected him to be your candidate of choice, you still have to critique that choice and have to give account account to your congregation that you had integrity. And I'm afraid that the church is compromising its integrity for the benefit of photo ops at the White House.
You hear that? You hear that? He trying to say that all these, like Robert Jeffries and all these other pastors, they compromise their integrity for the sake of a photo op at the White House. He just played y'all. He just played y'all. I can't believe he just said, when he said that, I cannot believe he said that. He's the biggest player in the game. Been on Time magazine covers and everything. And the only time you want to get on CNN and you play the punk role. And I hate saying that, but you play the soft role. Let me just retract that word. You play the soft role, and then you want to come after your white evangelical brothers and saying that they are just using this situation or the election of Donald Trump as a photo op. Oh yeah, I went and sat with. Oh, I said something. I had lunch with Donald Trump. We go and advise him, so forth and so forth. Man, get out of here. The opportunities that you have as a man of faith and all the influence that you have, this is the best you can do. I keep telling people, run and run as fast as you can. There was a time I would have went to the Potter's house. You can't pay me to go to that place now. You cannot pay me. And I'm in Texas now. And his buddy down the street. You couldn't pay me. Y'all better be careful and watch these folks right here, because they are in the most seductive way. He just, number one, took a stab at evangelical white brothers and sisters. He basically put down, from an emotional standpoint, he took in what CNN has had to say, and this whole issue, and him and John Gray, about the immigration policies that were already in effect before Trump was ever voted in, and pretty much summarized that, okay, now we have this issue here, is not being addressed properly. The church has been quiet when there's been other big issues that he refused to speak on, and all the money and the movies that he's made. You would think by now he would make a movie that would truly support issues such as God being able to deliver people from homosexuality, or issues that deal with abortion. But he's too afraid. He's too afraid. That's why I can't even. I gotta go. I'm gonna let this go. Y'all be careful who you sit up under. I say it all the time. I keep saying it. Be careful who you sit up under, because there's a lot going on and we are in those days. I'm telling you, this is not about, and I keep saying, this is not about left, right. This is not about Democrat, Republican. This is all about the kingdom of light and darkness. And there are those who are trying to shape-shift between the two. They play one side, then they play the other side. And they do it so seductively because people have itching ears. They cannot see nor hear what's truly going on. And that's where I'm going to leave it right there. This is James from Non-Free Project. Remember, Jesus Christ and him alone. Place your faith in nobody else but Jesus Christ. Not your pastor, not your bishop, not your pontiff, not anybody but Jesus Christ. All right? Peace.